my name is Elisa Camber, and I am from the Netherlands. Well, I live in the Netherlands, but I am from Greece. And I am a GD for the Google Assistant and also an Android developer.
And I'm Amanda. I am from Brazil. Right now, I'm based in London for the past 4 years. I'm also same things as Elisa are GD for the Google Assistant, Women Tech Makers Ambassador, GDG lead, and I work more focused on front-end development. So today we're going to do this Google Assistant level 2. So let's get to it. So the Google Assistant Developer Platform lets you create software to extend the functionality of Google Assistant, a virtual personal assistant across more than 1 billion devices, including smart speakers, phones, cars, TVs, headphones, and more. Users engage Assistant in conversation to get things done, such as buying groceries or booking a ride. As a developer, you can see the Assistant Developer Platform to easily create and manage delightful, effective conversational experiences between users and your own third-party fulfillment service. This Codelab covers intermediate-level concepts for developing with the Google Assistant and builds off of action created in the Level 1 Codelab. We strongly recommend that you complete the Level 1 before starting this one. The action you will build in this Codelab tells users their fortune for their quest in a mythical land based on the age they choose. So what are we going to build today? We're going to build a sophisticated conversational action with the following functions. It collects data from the user, and depending on the value, modifies the conversational prompts. It responds with follow-up questions to further the conversation. It creates a game loop so a user can interact with the action again after receiving a fortune. Before you start building, you can interact with the live action on your Google Assistant enabled device by saying, "Hey G, talk to Fate and Fortune." The default path through this action for a returning user looks like the following interaction. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you can see on the right side, just like when you're in a messaging app, you can see what the person interacting is saying, and on the left, what the assistant is replying. So it gets the test version, it gives you an introductory welcome message. You then can select an answer, and then more options come up. You select more things, more text come up, and then so you have this interaction just like you would be talking to a person. Someone asks you a question, you reply. And by the end of it, you're going to learn how to use slots. We're going to go more in depth in what slots are, to gather data from the user, how to use conditions to add logic to a scene, how to add a game loop, and how to add a supportive path. If some of these you don't even know what they are, don't worry, you're going to learn them throughout this Codelab. And what is needed for this? Just a browser, such as Chrome, and you must have completed Codelab Level 1. For the sake of following what we are going to do now, Elisa and I, we have the Codelab from last week here. So if you don't have it yourself, you can still follow it with us. Part 2 with you, Elisa.
All right. So for continuing building the conversation interface that we built the previous time. So just a recap, in the first Codelab, we created a simple conversation action with a single scene. It was called Start. In this Codelab, we're going to extend the conversation. And in the following sections, you configure the action to do the following. First of all, we transition to a new scene that's going to be called a fortune when the user wants to hear their fortune. We ask the user which aid they want to choose for their journey, and we deliver the customized fortune based on the user's choice. So first of all, we are going to create the fortune scene. In this section, you create the fortune scene and define how the user transitions to it during the conversation. So to create a new scene, which is called fortune, we follow those steps. First of all, we open the Codelab on level 1 of the action project. Amanda, do you want to continue reading so I can just share the project?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right.
So as she was saying, you're going to open your Codelab level 1 actions project. We're going to click develop the top navigation. We're just going to wait a little bit for everyone to have the chance to open the Codelab number 1. Then to click develop at the top. Under scenes, click on the start scene. Click on the yes intent, the when yes is matched box to open the options. Let me just put you on the other screen. Clear send prompts to remove the prompt. Yeah. In the transition section, click on the drop-down menu. Click into the text box and type fortune, then click add. This creates a new scene called fortune. It also adds a transition from the start scene to the fortune scene when the user wants to hear about their fortune. Define conversational logic for the fortune scene. In this Codelab, you're going to configure your fortune scene to ask the user, what do you choose to help on your quest, a dragon, a translator, or a compass? You can use a capability called slot filling to gather the necessary information from the user before proceeding. So the key terms important here. Slot filling, it's a function of conversational logic that allows you to collect a set of values or slots from the user through natural back and forth conversation without having to create multiple intents. Slots are data that you want to extract from the user input. For instance, what is your name? My name is Amanda. Amanda is what I would like to extract. So we have many slots. Your action provides fortunes for 3 aids, a dragon, translator, and compass. To configure your action to identify these 3 options in a user's input, you must create a new type. Just before we get to the point of building more things, let's have a look at the key terms. Types allow you to configure the assistant NLU, natural language understanding, to extract structured data from the user input. You can use types within a scene slot filling stage to define the information you want from the user. When the NLU engine detects a slot match in user input, it extracts the slot as a typed parameter so you can carry out the logic with it in a scene. So now we're going to create the available underscore option type. In this section, you are going to create a new type called available options, which specifies the 3 options the user can choose in response to the prompt. You also define a few synonyms for these options in case a user says something similar. In a later section, you will add the available options type to a slot to specify that you want to obtain the user's choice. So let's get down to business. To create the available options type, follow these steps. 1. In the left navigation, click Types under Intents. Click on the plus sign and type available underscore options and press enter or return. Click available options to open the options. Perfect. Types are configured as key-value pairs of information, where the key is the name of the type and the values are the synonyms of that key. When you define the key, it is automatically added as a value. To add the 3 options, the user can choose. Follow these steps. Scroll down. So, step number 1, scroll down to the Add Entry section. In the new entry text box, type dragon and press return. This action creates a dragon key. Very good. Type Hydra, Hydra, and press return.
Is this a second option for it, or?
Yeah, let me see. Dragon, yeah, that exactly that way you wrote. That's it. Just in front of it. So we're doing this to add the value as synonym. Then we're going to repeat the same step and write lizard. So lizard is going to be in front of that. So these are all synonyms to when you mean dragon. Then we're going to add the rest of the keys and corresponding values. So the next one, new entry, yes, is translator. And the synonyms are translator, communicator, double M, yeah, machine, decoder, and translate. And then we're going to click save. Your action now understands that the available options are dragon, translator, and compass. You can also recognize a few corresponding synonyms. Now we're going to
we're missing the compass.
Oh, sorry. Good point. Compass. Compass, direction, and guide.
All right.
That's it. Now click save. And we're going to configure the slot filling. Next, you need to configure the slot filling in the fortune scene. To configure the slot filling logic, follow these steps. 1. In the left navigation, under Scenes, click Fortune. In the Fortune scene, click plus for slot filling. Yeah, there you go. On the right, in the Enter Slot Name text box, add chosen, camel case, so chosen, uppercase O, options. And as the slot name, in the select type dropdown, select available options as the slot type. Yep. Select this slot is required below. And the customize, yeah, that one is already ticked. Number 6, select send prompts and add the following message and suggestion chips. Let me place it here. Oh, it changes the case, so I guess you actually have to copy it from the local.
Yeah.
Click save on the top right. You've now added the available options type to the slot, which tells your action the information you need to gather from the user, their choice of aid before proceeding. You also configure the prompt within the slot, which is added to the prompt queue when the user reaches the slot filling stage of the scene. Note that when we named the slot chosen options, the customized slot value write back field is updated with the same name, $sessions.params.chosenOptions. You can access this parameter by the name in the action builder and in your fulfillment via the client library. Now we're going to configure the scenes.slots.status = final condition. When you add a slot, the condition is automatically added to the condition list. Key terms. So conditions. It lets you check the session, user, or slot data for a condition to be met. The condition that we're talking about right now checks for slot filling to be complete. When all the slots are filled, the condition can trigger a webhook, transition to a new scene, or add prompts to the prompt queue. In this section, you're going to configure, this one we're talking about, to add a prompt queue once the slots are filled. To add this prompt to the final condition, let's follow the following steps. 1. Click on the scenes.slots.status == final condition to open the conditions, to open the options window. And then we have another text to be copy and pasted. Select send prompts. And then we have to copy and paste candidate for sample variant speech. You got it, yeah. And then we click save. To test your action, follow these steps. Maybe you remember from the Codelab number 1. In the top navigation bar, click test. Click or type talk to my test app in the input field and press return. That's the old simulator we had before. Okay, now we're going to type yes in the input field and press return. As an alternative, you can click yes on the suggestion chip. And just a note, if you receive a prompt indicating that the action doesn't understand your input, when you say it, click or type yes. Check that you made the slot required. Maybe you missed that one of the previous steps. Okay, now we're going to click, type, or say dragon. And you should receive a message, you picked dragon. In the next section, you customize the prompts for each aid. The prompts for each aid the user could select. Customize prompts using conditions. In this section, you will add conditions for each option the user can choose and add a custom prompt for each condition. Customize the dragon fortune. To update the condition and customize the prompt for when a user chooses dragon, follow these steps. 1. Click develop in the top navigation. You got it. In the left navigation, click on the fortune scene. Click on the scene slot status == final condition to open the options window. Update the condition statement to scenes.slots.status == final and how do you say the e-commercial and I guess you have to go back to the Codelab, the parts too, so you can copy and paste. Let me paste it here in the chat.
That's already there.
You already done it? Okay. I don't see it. Where is it? Update the conditions. No, it's so yours is up to final. We also have to add an end session programs chosen options dragon. Let's see how we can change that. So you can click to open the options, and then in there you should be able to see it. Yeah, there, and then yes, perfect. Select center, okay, update, and click save. Now, when a user says dragon or something similar, your action provides a fortune based on that selection. Next, you will add the remaining 2 selections. Customize the translator fortune. To add the condition and customize the prompt for when a user chooses translator, follow these steps. 1. Click the plus sign next to condition. Add, let me paste the text here. Scenes, slot, status == final, and session params, chosen options == translator, to the else if text box. Yep, you're right. Select send prompts and add the following prompt in your code editor. Click Save. And finally, let's customize the compass fortune. Did you get it, Elisa?
Yeah.
Cool. To customize the compass fortune, we're going to follow these steps. Click on the plus sign next to the condition and add another condition to another else if. You've done it. Select send prompts and add the following prompt in the coding editor. Click Save. And now it's time for testing again. We're going to go back to test, talk to my test app, and then we're going to select yes, and then type or say translator. You do that, yes, and translator, yeah. And then you should receive a fortune with a translator option. Yep. So let's carry on building our game. Now we're going to step number 3. You say, do you want to read, Elisa? How's your feeling?
Sorry?
Do you prefer that I continue to read? Would you like to read?
Whatever you prefer, I'm fine with either.
Well, I believe because you're sharing the screen, maybe I can carry on reading so we don't have to change.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's add the game loop. In this section, you configure your action so that the user can select another option and hear a different fortune after making a selection. This change is similar to, do you want to play again? Message at the end of a game. To build this loop, you can reuse the previously created yes and no intents and add them to a new scene called again. So let's create the again scene. In this option, you're going to create a new again scene to add a prompt that asks the user if they'd like to select a different option. To create the again scene, follow the steps. Click Develop in the top navigation. Click the plus sign under Scenes. Type again and press Enter. Click the again scene in the left navigation and click the plus sign next to On Enter. The first one. Select Send Prompts and add the following prompt and suggestion chips. So we have a text here that we have to copy and paste and click Save. Add the transition from fortune to again scene. After the user receives their fortune, their conversation needs to transition to the new again scene. To add a transition from the fortune scene to the again scene, follow these steps. 1. Click the fortune scene on top of again. Yeah. Just 1 second. Yep. Click on the first condition, the scene slot equals fine and session params chosen options equals dragon. To open the options window, scroll down and select again under transition. Did you find it? Yeah. Click Save. Click on the second condition to open the options window. Scroll down and select again under transition. Click Save, top right. Click on the third condition to open the options window. Scroll down and select again under transition. Click Save. So same thing we're doing for all of them. And now we're going to test again. Back to testing, talk to my test app, type yes, and click type or say dragon. you should receive the fortune for the dragon option in the again prompt. Dragon. It looks like the screenshot that we have here. You should receive the fortune in the option and the again prompt. Sorry, I missaid. We have an again. I don't quite see that step. Let me just reread it. Talk to my test app, type yes, click or say dragon. You should receive the fortune for the dragon and the again prompt.
This is the again prompt. That would you like to choose a different option and explore another future?
Okay. So add intents and transition to the again scene. In this section, you will add yes and no intents to the again scene, so your action understands if the user wants to choose a new option or not. You also add the appropriate transitions for yes and no intents. The yes intent transitions to the fortune scene, whilst the no intent transitions to the system scene and conversation. To add intents and transitions to the again scene, follow these steps. Click develop. Yep, you're there. Click again. The again scene. Click on the plus sign next to custom intent handling. Select yes from the intent drop-down menu. Select fortune. Hang on, I think I missed one. Select yes from the, select fortune from the transition drop-down menu. Click save. Click the plus sign next to custom intent handling. Select no. Select end conversation from the transition drop down menu. And the next step, we're going to do a copy and paste. Select send prompts and add the following prompt in the code editor. So text and prompts.
It's here, right? Yeah.
And click save. And that, are you down for one more testing?
Okay.
Yep. So talk to my test app. Yes. And yes again. So we type yes in the input field and press return, or we can click the yes suggestion chip, or we can click type or say one of the options. Type yes in the input field and press return, or click the suggestion chip, just like Elisa did. You should receive the prompt. What do you choose to help on your quest, a dragon, a translator, or a compass? To test the no intent, follow the steps. Click type or say one of the options. Type no in the input field and press enter. You should receive the end conversation prompt. It pleases me. Yeah, we got that one. Okay, do you want to switch screens?
Sure.
Let's see if I can manage to share my screen. I think you have to stop sharing or I don't have the option here. Okay, share screen. Application window. Then tab. Can you see it as a supported path?
Yes.
Cool. Just opening the console actions on the same tab that I'm sharing. just for the people who are watching, Elisa was sharing her screen. Now I'm going to share mine. But it's the same project she's giving me permission, so I'm actually working on the same project as her. It's not my own version. So whatever I do here, she can also see on her own. Go on.
All right, so we're going to add next the supportive path. We've now built the main path that most users are going to take with the action. However, the user can respond to the prompt for the future scene. What do you choose to help you on your quest? A dragon, a translator, or a compass, with a choice that it's not one of the provided options. In this selection, you configure your action to understand when a user chooses magic, money, horse, or a phone, and to reprompt the user to select from one of the original 3 choices when they chose one of those options. To configure this logic, you need to create a new type that contains these other choices and a new intent called other option that is matched when a user says one of those options. You also need to annotate training phrases within the other option intent to identify the extract intent parameters. So some key terms over here, the intent parameters, they're typed data, specific words or phrases that you want to extract from the user input. To create a parameter, you annotate training phrases within an intent. And the annotation is a process of specifying types that you want to extract from the training phrases. If you configure a type before creating training phrases, that includes the type, this happens automatically. When the assistant's natural language processing engine detects a parameter match in user input, it extracts the value as a typed parameter, so you can carry out logic. With logic in the scene. In this Codelab, we're going to configure the action to extract the aid the user chooses and refer to that choice in a prompt. An earlier section discussed slot filling, which collects information from the user that it's needed to be processed. The data you collect from the user in scenes is referred to as slots. Intent parameters differ slightly in that they are extracted from the user input after an intent is matched. However, intent parameters can also fill slots. So now we're going to create the unavailable underscore options type. To create the unavailable underscore options type, follow those steps. Click develop in the top navigation. Click on the plus sign under types and create the unavailable underscore options and then click enter. All right, enter the following entities and corresponding values in the add entry section. First of all, we have the horse, and the synonyms are stallion and steed, stead. All right, then we have magic with synonyms as enchanted and spells. Then we have money with synonyms cash and gold. And finally, we have phone with synonyms cell and apps. And then click save. We're next going to create the other underscore options intent. So we are going to add the training phrases that include the options in the unavailable options type. This intent is matched when the user selects a choice contained within the unavailable options type. To create and configure the other options intent, follow these steps. Click the plus sign under intents and type other underscore options and click enter. Then click on the other options to open the window and add the following training phrases. I want to use spells. I really, really want to use a phone. Magic, cash, and I want to ride a horse. All right, in the add intent parameter section, update the parameter's name to choose an unavailable option and click save. Find it? Yeah. All right. As you enter the training phrases, Action Builder recognizes spells, phone, magic, cast, and horse from the unavailable options type and automatically annotates those words. Action Builder automatically adds an intent parameter in the Add Intent Parameter section, as shown in the following figure below. The intent parameter allows you to extract the name of the option and use that option in the prompt. So you can see it over here, how all of those are annotated. And then we're going to add the other option intent to the fortune scene. So now that we have the intent, the other option, that can handle a user specifying an option that isn't one of the original options. In the section, you add the other option intent to the fortune scene. You use the intent parameter to customize the prompt based on the user's input. To add the other option intent to the fortune scene, follow these steps. Click on the fortune scene and click on the plus sign next to the custom intent handling. Select the other option and then send the prompts below. All right. The expression intent params chosen unavailable option refers to the intent parameter object, and the intent params chosen unavailable option dot original refers to the object's value. The original property refers to the raw input the user specifies. When a user says an input listed in the unavailable options type during the fortune scene, the other option intent is matched and adds a prompt to the prompt queue. Since there is no transition specified, the scene execution loop continues by re-evaluating the conditions stage. The chosen option slot then adds its prompt to the prompt queue, and the prompt queue is delivered to the user. So now we're going to test the action in the simulator. Your action should now respond appropriately when the user selects one of the options listed in the unavailable options type and specify which aid the user selected. Your action should reprompt the user to pick one of the original choices, a dragon, a translator, or a compass. So click on the testing, talk to my test app, and then we click yes and magic. So you may notice that the prompt doesn't sound correct when the user chooses magic because of the A article placed before it. You address this issue in the following sections. Add the unavailable options handler. To place the A article before the appropriate choices from the unavailable options type, you can configure an event handler in the fulfillment logic to check if the option the user chooses needs an A before it. First, you need to configure your action to call the handler in the console. To add the unavailable options handler, follow these steps. Click the develop in the top navigation. Click on the fortune scene, and under the custom intent handling, click when other option is matched to open the window. Clear send prompts and select call your webhook. Enter unavailable options into the text box for the event handler. All right. Update and deploy the fulfillment. Now that you've configured your action to call the unavailable options event handler, you can update the handler in your fulfillment to deploy it. To update your fulfillment, follow these steps. Click on the webhook in the left navigation. Add the following code under the greeting handler. Add the following code under the const app equals conversation. All right. And finally, click Save the fulfillment and deploy the fulfillment. All right, so it says that it's deployed. So maybe I can test it.
So what should I do? Talk to my test app. Type yes in the input field.
Okay, here's the test.
Yes.
What do you choose to help you on your quest? A dragon, a translator, or a compass?
Okay, it's telling me to type magic.
I have seen the future and magic will not aid you on your journey.
And then
What do you
horse.
choose? I have seen the future and a horse will not aid you on your journey. What do you choose to help you on your quest? A dragon, a translator, or a compass?
So your action should add the A article before the horse choice while constructing the prompt without the A article for the magic choice.
Yeah, so now we can see that it says a horse instead of horse.
Okay, so I guess the next steps.
Yes, the next steps. All right, so what we covered so far, it was how to develop conversation actions using the Node.js fulfillment library, how to use slots to gather data from the user, how to use conditions to add logic to the scene, how to add a game loop, and how to add a supportive path. And here they are also some additional learning resources. If you didn't complete the first Codelab, you should also go and see. We also have a video for that. And also, of course, the documentation, the GitHub pages, the Reddit community, and the conversation design guidelines that it says over here. And that's it.
Yay! This one was way more in depth than the part one.
Yeah.